Davis, welcome to the latest episode of Cut to the...
I was going to leave you hanging today. Chase.
There you go. Episode number 63, which is getting close to your age, right? More or less. And
not far.
Talking about getting out of your comfort zone. Now, you've been tasked of creating a course or a training session for listing presentation.
Yes.
Which you haven't done one since 1963 either, right?
Well, no, to be fair, I've still been doing quite a few last year with agents all over Auckland. But yes, because a lot of people are listing second time round, those opportunities that are really hot, you've got to take full advantage. And my synopsis is I'm finding that people just aren't asking enough questions at the time they take the inquiry. As you know, I'm married to a beautiful agent, and quite often I hear a lot of information, so I'm in the field, and I just think that there's time that maybe we can shake things up a little bit and ask better questions.
Okay, so the question that everyone normally wants to know when they talk to me is like, what's your listing presentation like? Have you got a format? How long are you talking for? What are the main points? And I'd love to hear from you, but I'm going to give you a very quick snapshot of what I'll say when I sit down at the table, okay? I open it with this.
Record. This is going to be quick, is it?
It's going to be quick. It's going to be quick. The quickest
you love talking.
The quickest presentation I've done is in 7.5 minutes. Normally my average is 15. People think you're there for an hour. And I sit down and I say this. Today we're going to go through a couple of things. The price of the property by looking at comparables. We're not going to spend too much time on this because those comparables are in the past, and today we do not decide what the property is worth. But we want to get an indication. That's why you got me here. Then we're going to talk about the possible ways to sell the property. We're going, of course, going to talk about the marketing, the timeline, and the cost involved. Hopefully, by the end, I would have proved that I'm the best agent for the job, and we can decide if we want to work together. And if not, then it's absolutely fine. Now, is anything else that I've missed or what we should cover today? And normally people go like, oh, no, that's perfect. And that's how I open it. Snap, in and out. And I actually say, this can take 10 minutes or it can take an hour. I'm fine with that, and I'll work around your schedule. So people know that you're not going to be there talking for 2 hours, which people do. And man, the vendors are like, man, are you going to leave my house or what? I already decided to choose Diego. Jokes apart. What about you? Because you're looking at the whole thing, and I'd love to hear what you have to say, because you're the man in real estate.
Well, no, there's no right or wrong, and I love how succinct it is. My approach is, we've said it before, treat everyone the same by treating it differently. So for me, it's trying to ascertain before I do the listing presentation, it's that phone call, am I in competition? Who am I competing against? What's really important to them? Some key questions around, and they can tune in because we're going to record it, but what's really important for you moving forward in the market? When are you going to base your decision on? What don't you want? What's your levels of communication? What's the invisible value that your CV or One Roof or Homes doesn't show? So when I'm turning up to the presentation with that intel, then I've got them even more on board. I know what I'm dealing with. And one of my best life hacks that someone wiser than even you, Diego, taught me years ago, I can't remember who, they said, if I'm comparing apples with apples, have you thought about the questions that you're going to ask all three agents to make sure that you can compare them all fairly? Oh, no, well, if you don't mind, I'll send you a list of those questions that you may want to consider, because they actually haven't thought about it that much. And then the questions are tailored to what you want them to ask.
Yep.
And
it's funny that you say that. In my blue box, which is normally delivered within 5 minutes of a request of an appraisal, I actually got a list of questions that a vendor should ask an agent. And of course, I know them, but I know what to say when they ask those. But it's just about actually showing and welcoming competition, right?
Yes.
A lot of agents say, oh, you've seen someone else. No, Mr. Vendor, you should see 2 to 5 agents. Because then you can pick the best, and the one that you think is qualified the better, because they sell the most property, they got the most buyers, blah, 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 blah. But
I welcome the comparison.
I welcome the comparison because, frankly, I'm going to win. No, you don't say that. You don't say that. Confidence, not arrogance, okay? But closing this podcast, how are you closing a listing presentation? Do you ask for the business?
Always.
Man, you'll be muppet if you did it, right?
And it's the subtlety as you're going through. So what days are you looking for open homes?
Yeah.
What kind of advertising you're looking like, what profiling, what's your level of communication, when we're bringing you offers, what's the best time. So you've made all those soft closes before you ask for the business. And I usually finish with a line along the points of, hey Diego, I feel that we've made a good connection today that will work in collaboration really well together to get you the result you're looking for and you deserve. It's about it's about us together. I feel good about you. Do you feel good about me? Because remember, it's a two-way deal.
Yeah. And a lot of time people say, and they tell you many times during the presentation that they're talking to other agents, and you know that regardless how good you've went, there are probably certain people going to take the time to decide, right? Which is fine. And I always leave with something similar to you, say, do you think I'm the best agent for the job? And I appreciate that you say you're going to see someone else's today, but if that person is not as good as you thought, are you happy for me to start working for you for tomorrow? Oh no, but we got to decide. I'm like, I got to ask the question, because you would want me to ask a buyer coming to your property if they want to buy the property, right?
Even if close.
Even if they told me they got to see another 2 properties, and then on the way out, I would normally say, guys, by the way, I'm not a pushy agent, but if you think I've done good, just cancel the other 2. Save yourself some time. I've got the paperwork in the car.
I'll ring them up.
I'll ring them up.
I'll ring the 2 agents up.
A little bit of humor, right? And you treat everyone the same, but treat them indifferently. But at the same time, you're there to ask for the business because, and use example. It's like, if I was sitting on a buyer and 2 weeks down the line at the table with you on your house, and they're liking the house, but they're a bit undecided, would you like me to say, hey, I'll call you tomorrow? Or would you like me to say, hey, I think this is the house for you. How about we put a number on paper and start negotiating? Because I'm going to be slightly pushy with them, just like you think I'm slightly pushing with you. I'm not pushy, but that's my job. And then they go like, oh, that makes sense.
Close. No one wants a pussy.
Yeah. And the last thing I'm going to say, if you're sitting there on the line, just tell them this. I'm going to go to the car, return my call from a call from my wife. I'll come back in 5 minutes and you can have a bit of a chat. And if in 5 minutes you think you're ready, good. And if not, I'll give you all the time in the world. Because sometimes people say, yeah, I've signed many listings. They go, yeah, go in the car, make a couple of calls, and we'll open the door when we're ready to come back in. So just don't be pushy, but push yourself in. Thanks for watching.
See you at 64.